Rent or buy? Which is the better way to build your wealth quickly? Honestly speaking, I think this answer varies on who you are and what you're trying to achieve. May I even be so bold as to say there are some people that are renting who should be buying, and others still that are buying when they should be renting. What should you be doing? In this video, I try my best to give you the answer to that question. Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Nyiko. I've been a financial advisor for about 8 years now. I've learned a lot about what you need to do with your finances if you want to achieve financial freedom. So if financial freedom is a goal that you want to achieve at an age where it still matters and you can still enjoy it, I help you here to deploy, not just employ your money. So if this is the type of personal finance content that you like to see, please give this video a like. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you can be notified every time a new video comes out. Rent or buy? Which is the better way to build wealth? It is widely known that renting is considerably far less complicated than the prospect of home ownership. It is also known that renters are free from costs relating to owning a home, such as mortgage payments, rates and taxes, levies, insurance, home maintenance, and all other costs relating to you owning your home outright. Home ownership versus renting and investing. I've seen a lot of personal finance YouTubers attack this topic, and most of the analysis looks something like this. They calculate all of the costs related to home ownership. They then compare these costs to the prospect of, say, renting, saving on what would have been rates and taxes, levies, and all of the costs related to home ownership outside of renting, and investing these funds and seeing what you have at the end of, say, 20 or 30 years. In other words, measuring the cost of home ownership against the opportunity cost of not investing during the same period of time. For the purposes of this video, I will call this the mathematical opportunity cost. Opportunity cost, home ownership versus rent and invest. While I find this hypothesis to be a cogent alternative to the prospect of home ownership, it is still based on the premise that you can basically save your way towards being wealthy. Granted, you probably know someone who's achieved wealth in this way, but they're not necessarily the epitome of what you would call, or what I would call, financial freedom. When I test the strength of a particular principle, I like to test it against an extreme case of the same principle. For instance, is there anyone on the Forbes list who got to the Forbes list because they saved their way to wealth by saving money that they earned from their salary? I'm guessing that's a no, but if I'm wrong, please let me know in the comments and I'd like to learn about this person. By the way, if you haven't checked out my Achieve True Financial Freedom, please subscribe and check out that playlist after this video. The problem that I have with the rent and invest proposition as presented by most personal finance experts out there is that it depends on you having a job. Not just that, a high paying job. This job needs to offer you one of two things. Either you need to earn so much that you have a significant amount of disposable income, which you can then use to invest. Or you can save so much by cutting down your expenses that you have enough to save and invest. Moreover, over here the assumption is made that you will remain employed throughout this entire period of assessment. So if you are not educated and middle class, this probably does not even apply to you. Opportunity cost, home ownership versus create income streams. For a guy like me, brought up in a country with an unemployment rate of 32% and a youth unemployment rate of 46%, you're going to have to come up with a better solution for me than just a job. I need a better way, one that I can control, that will allow me to achieve financial freedom. Being a third world country, this means that in spite of the current circumstances, as technology advances, this is what it will mean. The cashier will be replaced by self-checkouts. The truck driver will be replaced by self-driving trucks. The warehouse worker will be replaced by robots. The Uber driver will be replaced by autonomous cars. The travel agent will be replaced by online booking. Let's not forget about the robots that are being trained to do medical diagnosis and even surgical procedures. Accounting software is becoming even more sophisticated and even intelligent and can work throughout the night. Even the practice of law is becoming digitized. Anybody who knows me, has subscribed to this channel, or checked out a couple of my videos knows that opportunity cost is a very, very real thing to me. I always factor it in. By the way, now's a good time to smash that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you can get the latest personal finance content just as it drops. This video is about comparing the prospect of home ownership over a period of 20 to 30 years to the prospect of potentially creating income streams over the same period of time so that you do not need to depend on a job. In other words, how financially secure will you be in 20 to 30 years if you spent that time trying to own a home versus if you spent it trying to create other forms of income? Or, coming a bit closer to the ethos of this channel, where will you be in 20 to 30 years time if you spent this time employing your money versus spending this time deploying your money? That's what this channel is about, that's what this video is about. So let's learn a bit more about this topic. What we can learn from corporations. As a financial advisor, I get to observe in great detail the financial portfolios of a myriad of individuals. My clients, for the most part, are finance professionals. A large part of this is because they're already trained in financial principles, so it's easier for them to understand some of the concepts that I try to lay out to them a lot quicker. More importantly, they also understand the value in what I do. This being said, corporations and the individuals that work for them, and yes, including the finance professionals, have one thing in common. They do what they do for money. Go figure, right? You needed me to tell you that? What is ironic though is that corporations employ completely different methods to try to grow their money than is the case with individuals. More so, even individuals that work for these very same corporations. For instance, corporations don't try to save their way to wealth, yet individuals somehow think that they can. Corporations use their access to credit to try and build their businesses. Individuals, for the most part, use their access to credit to gain today access to something that they can only afford tomorrow. Said differently, individuals tend to use their access to credit to finance their debt, whereas corporations use their access to credit as leverage. Herein lies the premise behind which I would not advise anybody to take out a mortgage on a property that they intend to live in, especially if this is the only use of credit that they are making use of towards a mortgage. Getting a mortgage. Let us have a look at the typical circumstances under which a typical person decides to get a mortgage. Getting a mortgage is typically preceded by buzz phrases such as, I want to own the house that I live in. I'm tired of paying off somebody else's mortgage. A home, a property is an asset. You can never go wrong with property. And so forth and so forth. I am sure you've heard a couple of these lines yourself. Typically, this decision comes about when an individual feels stable in their career, when they've just gotten married, or when they've just started a family. Typically, this sets a tone for the property purchase that you make to be one for the future version of yourself, the person that you want to be. The result usually is one where you make use of the maximum allowable credit facility towards a mortgage that the bank will allow you, because you know that in the future you're going to grow into this property, your income is going to increase, and your mortgage payments are most likely going to remain flat or constant. This is all good and well, and it makes a whole lot of sense to conventional wisdom, but this poses one big problem. You would have then made use of all of the allowable credit that the bank would give you towards taking on a debt, leaving you with nothing that you can use towards taking on leverage, building your balance sheet. Maybe you're able to do both at the same time. Maybe your income is going to grow so rapidly that this won't even matter in a couple of years' time. Either way, this is not the most efficient way of building your balance sheet, and there is an opportunity cost that you will incur. Moreover, for the average Joe like me, I need a plan that will place my destiny in my own two hands and allow me to be in control as best as possible of my future. If you want to be in control of your financial destiny, please smash that like button. Let me know that you are there. Choosing to rent. Renting, for the most part, is cheaper than home ownership and all of the added costs that come with it. Even if it wasn't, renting leaves your access to credit unencumbered so that you can use it to build your balance sheet. Furthermore, renting is fluid, so it can be customized to your current life stage, not your future life stage. For instance, you don't hear of newlyweds renting out a 4-bedroom house because they want to have kids someday in the distant future. This position, that is renting, allows you to, say for instance, use your access to credit to buy smaller properties that you can then rent out instead of using that access to credit on one bigger property that you hope to grow into in the future. Property is not the only way to build wealth, but it is my favorite for various reasons. There are other means to use leverage to build your balance sheet, but I do not want to pontificate on things that I do not have time to fully ventilate in this short video, so I'm going to choose to stick to property. This being said, property has far more moving parts than the average inexperienced property investor may appreciate. So make sure that you verse yourself as best as possible in the field of property investment before you actually get into it. Ever heard the line, "You can never go wrong with property"? I have. And guess what? You can. You can go very, very wrong with property. Property is a numbers game. Learn the game. Learn the rules of the game and you will do well in property. The good news is that for those of you who have subscribed, I will be talking a lot in much more granular detail about the nuts and bolts behind successful property investment. Also, there are a host of other channels that speak proficiently to the topic of property investment, so you are in good hands and there is a wealth of knowledge available. You do not have to go into property investment blind. So, are you still thinking of whether or not you should get a mortgage? If this is the case, you need to ask yourself 2 questions. Question number 1, do I really know the difference between an asset and a liability? Question number 2, would I be employing or deploying my money? Thank you so much for watching this video until the very end. If you learned something, please let me know in the comments. If you haven't already, please smash that button for the algorithm and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you can be notified every time a new video comes out. Cheers. So I've been running my financial planning practice for about 8 years now. So I've been thoroughly exposed to all the methods that work and all the methods that don't work. And as an extension of this YouTube channel, I've also now started to consult one-on-one, helping you with wealth coaching. We talk everything from credit, how to speak to your banks, buying cars, property investment, everything you need to know so that you can achieve financial freedom successfully. If you want to get in touch and schedule a consultation, contact me via the email provided in the description.